Thank you so much for joining me today, for coming to meet with me. I am here on Phenomenal Private Practice with Amira Martin with a very special guest today, Mary Pender Greene, CEO and President of MPG Consulting. Mary has done a tremendous amount of work in this field between being a therapist, a couples therapist, an administrator, a C-level executive, a coach, and more. And so I'm really honored and delighted to have you here today, Mary. Can you tell us a little bit about you and your professional titles and work?
Sure. So first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me. I'm always excited to work with you and looking forward to enriching your conversation. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So I always like to start with the fact that I am a therapist first, and in every role that I have, it starts with my being conscious about my relationships with other people, and the fact that I can't turn off the information in my head about being a therapist. So that's always there. So I am a social worker by profession. And throughout my career, I've been a therapist in a variety of different settings. And I have specialized in adult relationships. I used to do only individuals, adults, but it occurred to me pretty early in my career that most people struggle with relationships, whether it's at work or in their personal life. And so I started then. And also the other piece of it too is that when an adult is in a relationship or not, it takes up a lot of their energy because they're wanting to be in a relationship, or the relationship they're in isn't working well, that kind of thing. And so what I described myself, this came with time, I described myself as a relationship expert, whether it's in love or work. And actually the goal is to be able to have a balance between love and work, because neither thing alone is fulfilling over the long haul. Maybe for moments in time, but over the long haul, most people have a need to be able to have both of those things going on. Absolutely. And also, when I worked with couples and there were issues that were going on with the couple, it usually had to do with how people were feeling about what was going on in their job, and oftentimes it had to do with power dynamics and who made the most money, and how people were feeling about their accomplishments at different developmental levels. So it's really necessary to be able to think about the whole person when I'm working with somebody. And so that's what we do. We talk about the whole person. And from that situation, it means that sometimes when people come to see me and they are wanting coaching, for argument's sake, how they behave at work has a lot to do with who they are as individuals. And so in essence, I'm always helping people to make the connection that your ability to speak up and defend yourself at work, or push back when things aren't being considered that you're offering, has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself. And it's not as though it just happens at work. It happens in personal relationships, with family, with love relationships, with your children, it happens everywhere. And so it's the same work, despite the fact that you might display it differently in different places, but it goes back to the same thing. And I feel so delighted to witness people in this journey. I feel honored to be able to see people as they grow in the process. I see myself as a thought partner with individuals as well as couples, and also someone to help them to hold themselves accountable. So it's a combination of things. So the other thing that really is crucial here is to recognize that most people that are successful don't do it alone. That is absolutely necessary to be able to have someplace, somebody that they are, or a multitude of people that they are talking about these things with, because sometimes it's natural for certain people, depending on who they are. But then there are other folks who tend to be more introverted, tend to not see themselves as someone who wants to share their feelings or thoughts with people, and they sort of go to work and come home, or even sometimes when they're dating, they share only a small part of who they are. And say, I don't want anybody to know, fill in the blank, that I'm human. And a part of what causes people to be attracted is vulnerability.
Absolutely.
And a part of the work, whether it's coaching or therapy, the combination is about being able to be human in your interactions with people. And I'm not at all talking about sharing every deep, dark secret, but I am talking about acknowledging that I'm not perfect, and here are the things that I'm working on, and I want you to know who I am.
Right. I think that's terrific, Mary. And I'm smiling and I'm laughing all the way, because just reflecting on some of these things that you have taught me in the past and how it's like helped me to shift and change my thinking. And I think it's absolutely terrific. And I love the fact that you're tying and you're showing, that this happens in every relationship you're in, right? Your work relationships, your personal relationships, there's tie based on who you are and how you're feeling about yourself. That's great. And I also want to say that I think the point that you made, right? Like, we're not doing this alone. None of us get to a level of success alone, right? And that makes me think more about your coaching and mentorship, right? Because I know that that's also something that you've done in your career. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So coaching is really about helping people to have a place to bounce ideas off. And it's not to tell people what to do, but basically help people to struggle with what directions they want to go. Where do their passions lie? If indeed you follow your passion and be willing to do the work. One of the things that I say to people often is that, first of all, growth begins where comfort ends. And then the second thing is about the key to success is to be able to do things you don't want to do when you don't want to do them because you want the result.
I love it.
It's work. It's work. And oftentimes we as humans don't want to do stuff even though we want the result. And so what that means is when you're working with somebody, helping them to clarify their goals and their mission for themselves, and then to be able to help them to commit to holding themselves accountable. And so as a coach, it then means you're helping people to hear what it is that they're saying they want for themselves and what they're going to do to hold themselves accountable in the process. So the fact that you did what you said you were going to do is equally as important as, gee, I didn't do what I said I was going to do, because in essence, it's a combination. Nobody's always accountable to themselves. No one. And being able to forgive yourself. And a part of also what I spend a lot of time with people dealing with is what they say to themselves. When you're talking to yourself, what are you saying to you? And oftentimes people say such mean, hurtful things to themselves. I can't believe I was so stupid. I can't believe I didn't do this. I don't know that, or I'm worthless. And gee, I can't believe that I didn't say anything when this happened or that happened. And I say to people, would you say that to anybody else who had made a mistake, who hadn't spoken up? And just like you wouldn't say that to other people, and surely you wouldn't say it to a child, you have to work on not saying it to you. Because in essence, you are dampening your spirit. You're making yourself feel bad. And most people aren't their best selves when they're feeling bad. So in essence, we all know the things that would make us feel worse than anything. We know what that is. And so to be able to avoid saying those things really helps to be able to move past things that are holding us back.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrific. Because I think we lose sight of that, right? Like the fact that we do need to speak kindly to ourselves and with the same love and care that we would another human being, and even more because we're dealing with ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
That's a great point. So Mary, you have done so much in this field, right? I can't even put into words like how much you've done, and also the amount of people that you have touched and whose careers you have helped grow. And I know you've also offered a tremendous amount of mentorship, and I've been fortunate enough to be mentored by you as well. In addition to your coaching and in addition to your couples work, it's absolutely phenomenal. I do want to ask you a little bit about your current title as President and CEO of MPG Consulting.
Well, thank you. It's interesting that I have to admit that MPG Consulting was not a goal of mine, but it grew because the way that I live my life is about being open to opportunities. And that's what I talk to people about, whether it's in therapy or coaching, about being open to what the universe is offering to you. Having clarity about vision. I have passion about certain things, like I have passion about helping people, making a difference. Every morning when I wake up, my goal is to make a difference today. Shirley Chisholm has a quote that said, service is the price that we pay for the privilege of being on this earth. And in essence, to be able to offer service that makes the difference to people every day in one or many forms is really a part of my goal. And so in essence, I was working as an executive for a long time. And when I was leaving my role, I thought that I would coach people and would also do some couples work. But what happened is that over the years, I had done lots of coaching and leadership development in my role as chief of social work and then assistant executive director at the Jewish Board of Family and Children's Services. I was there for a good part of my career, and I met lots and lots of people. Every year, more than 100 interns and a staff of about 3,400 people. I think it might have been 36 at some point as well, but a lot of people, clinicians and administrators, etc. It was wonderful, and I loved the job, and I loved the relationships that developed. And a part of my role was to hire and mentor the careers of the different people in different roles, and to basically have the organization's staffing as a part of my portfolio, looking at who's where in the organization, so that as opportunities presented itself, it made it possible for me to say that there's this person in the Bronx that might be able to be promoted to a role in Queens. And that meant that I developed relationships with people. Not only did I hire them and look after their professional role, we offered training and support in a variety of ways. And also the thing that had happened that I had not anticipated is that people would often come for my consultation about conflict that they were having in their role, sometimes as supervisor or administrator, but sometimes as people who were in line roles as well, client-facing roles. And it meant that I developed a lot of relationships as a result of it. And so when I left my role, people reached out to me about trainings that I had done, or leadership development work that I had done, etc. And so, I want to say this too. I've spent a lot of years increasing my clinical skills with adults and couples in every possible field that was related, and group. My group is a passion of mine as well. But it was later in life that I went to the White Institute, the William Allison White Institute, to their organizational development and coaching program. And that really sort of sealed everything, because in essence, I had the clinical skills and the coaching and administrative things came later in life for me. But so when I left my role, I had been focused on slowing down some, doing basic limited coaching and limited couples work. But I got bombarded with requests to do things for organizations, because I had been there and in that role for such a long time that outside organizations had really played an important role in the work that I was doing. The other thing that I neglected to mention too is that I was president of NASW, and that had caused me to have lots of relationships as well. So people reached out for leadership development and coaching and my group skills. And at some point I was up to here and couldn't do any more myself. And of course, it really paid off that I had maintained relationships for all of those years that that I was at the Jewish Board and had relationships with all the schools of social work and people from NASW, et cetera. So I asked people to come and to do some work with me. And as that happened, the organization started to grow. And so currently I have more than 90 consultants that I work with, and we do all sorts of very special things in terms of coaching and leadership development and mentorship. And a part of the work that we do that's pretty unique, I think, is that we do anti-racist, anti-oppressive leadership development. And so, and that's hard work. Yeah. Because most people that are doing the work that they do absolutely feel as though they're committed to the service that they're offering. And it's really hard for most people to feel as though there is anything that has to do with racism or oppression that they need to learn, because most people think of racism as individual acts of meanness. And in essence, what we're talking about is structural racism, policies, practices, and procedures that prevents an organization from achieving the goals that they have for themselves as leaders and for the organization and for the clients that are being served. And so a part of our work is to help people to do the same thing that we do in coaching and leadership development. That is to look at what is your mission, your vision, your values, and what's standing in a way of your achieving it, because everyone wants a fair, equitable workspace where people are able to bring themselves without barriers. And that's what we do. We absolutely do without any shame or blame. We partner with people. And the thing about my team that I think is so unique is that we have a fully diverse, racially diverse, as well as sexual orientation, LGBTQIA+, many, many different communities. And basically, we're constantly growing. The thing about the people that do work for MPGC is that they are already doing the work as a part of what it is that causes me to be interested in having them do work with our team, because our goal is to offer highly skilled professionals who have been doing this work, and they work as a team wherein in some situations, people are working in private practice or at another organization, but being able to gather with other people who have similar interests in terms of anti-racist, anti-oppressive backgrounds and the different pieces of the work. It's really special.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Mary, I mean, your work, your company, your vision, and also there's the number of people that you've reached and lives and careers you've been able to impact is just absolutely phenomenal. I'm just beyond words with just in awe of all that you have done and continue to do and the way that you do it. You're so inclusive and you're thoughtful about it and you partner, just what you're saying about partnering with organizations, no shame or blame. I think that's so important because I know that that's one of the things that makes it so much harder for organizations and for people to make change. So I think that that's absolutely great. Now, I imagine that with all that you are doing and the broad size of your network, I imagine that you must get a lot of people reaching out to you saying, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you get on a call with me? Sending you an email, asking for a special request or asking them to teach you how to, for you to teach them how to do X, Y, Z. How do you deal with that?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that I love it. I have massive passion about it. So the one way that I've developed to do this is that we have a first Monday Executive Undoing Racism collective.
Terrific.
And it's a gathering for people, and it's for free for people on an anti-racist, anti-oppressive journey. It's focused on leaders, executives. However, other people are invited, and usually people make relationships with others that they meet there. I can't tell you how often people have found jobs there, have found staff there. And we used to meet in person prior to the pandemic. And we've been meeting for 15 years. So prior to the pandemic, we used to always meet the first Monday of the month. And we've moved around a bit because we've outgrown the space over time. And so now we meet on Zoom, and I am so delighted that there is no worry about running out of space. And so before it used to be New York City, but now, and we would have occasional people from New Jersey or Connecticut, et cetera. Now it's national, and I've even had some international folks on the Zoom call. So the gathering is awesome, and it means that people are able to get questions answered and learn new things. We have speakers every month. We are off in August, but otherwise the first Monday of every month, and it's from 9 to 11. And basically it's people who are able to connect with each other, because in essence, creating a network is what makes success. Because no matter what field you're in, you need other people who are like-minded, and to be able to have a gathering. And we probably have someplace between 150 and 200 people, but we have small group discussions, large group discussions, affinity groups, a combination, and in between, a part of what we have is hubs during the course of the month where people can connect with other people that have similar goals. And that's all on my website under the first Monday.
Wonderful. And I'll also share the link in our narrative.
Yes.
For
Okay.
this video.
Yeah. So it's available, so you can look at the hubs, and there are lots of them. So I'm delighted about that. And the other thing I want to say is the first Monday is a collective of people that put it on. I definitely couldn't do it alone. Parts of it is done and hosted by people on my team, on my staff.
Yeah.
But many of the people that bring people together are the co-chairs of the community, and that too,
Okay.
you could be able to see on my website, because
Terrific.
there are some wonderful people who absolutely inspire me and help me to be able to do the work as well. And I'm delighted about that.
That's terrific, Mary. And I'll definitely share that information. So, because I know people will be looking and they can actually just look at the links and your website. So that'll be great.
Thank you.
And what else? What other ways do you connect with people or provide information or help or guidance to people who are trying to grow in this field?
Well, my book is Creative Mentorship: How to Build Your Virtual Personal Board of Directors. And basically, the book is about the fact that you can't succeed and be the best you can be alone. And so just like an organization needs a board of directors to be able to address the many issues that come up for an organization, you need a virtual board of directors to be able to help you to address the issues. With people being so busy these days, it's really hard and unrealistic to think that you're going to find a mentor who's going to invest in you and spend, an hour a week or however long.
Right. Lunch every Tuesday. Right.
Right.
For infinity.
Right. So that's not likely. Wherein, if indeed you learn to create a variety of different people, and that's what the book is about. So step-by-step directions on how to build your virtual personal board of directors. And I absolutely feel so strongly that without my personal board of directors, I wouldn't be here. It's really a lot of interaction with people that makes it possible. But the other part is that while you get something, you give something as well. So you're paying it forward in other ways, but you're also giving something to the mentor as well, because I get so much from the people that I mentor. They offer so many wonderful things, and the relationships. Life really is about one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time. And that's a part of what makes it all work.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much, Mary Pender Greene, President and CEO of MPG Consulting, former President of NASW, former C-level executive with the Jewish Board. And I'm really going to encourage people to attend your monthly meetings. I think that that's absolutely terrific. And I'm going to link your book, because I know that your book has helped me so much and has helped other people that I know professionally get where they are. So I'm also going to link that. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I so appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.